You're going to be charged an ACC levy based on your size of your payroll in dollar terms.
The danger of ACC now, in terms of people getting it wrong, is it's so easy to set up a company in New Zealand, and then it says, oh, what's the business unit classification or whatever the terminology is?
Business industry classification code.
Yes, and you go, I don't know, like this, and you've got no idea if that's accurate or not. Well, New Zealand is a great place of many taxes, and another one of those is ACC. People would argue that's not a tax, but you probably get nothing in return for it, and that's why it feels like a tax. So today, I can't wait to talk about it, Phil.
Yeah, another great intro, and the other one that I've got to align with that would be superannuation is not a benefit. It's an entitlement, apparently, or an allowance or something. But, I mean, when you look at the government budget, it sits under the beneficiaries category. So, hey.
Well, we have to borrow every year to be able to pay that. So
we sure do. And
people out there.
Last time I checked, $20+ billion a year and climbing.
$500 million a week, I believe.
$500 million a week. Seeing as we're talking about interesting stats, we digress already, and I guess we are because it's an ACC topic, so there's not much to talk about. But Fonterra has made the news with the sale to this French dairy giant for $4.2 billion. Some dude called into Boomer FM on the old talkback. I can't remember who it was they were talking to. Apparently they pack a 40-foot container every 2 minutes to export. So that puts it into context of, because he was trying to explain how big Fonterra is. Apparently they turn over $200 million a day.
A day?
Yeah, I think he said 260, but I was just like, let's call it just over $200 million a day.
That's Fonterra?
Fonterra.
Wow. That's big bickies, eh?
That's awesome.
I love how all the non-farmers and people who don't even know much about business are out there being like, oh, they're going to repay all their debt. It's like, mate, how do you even know that?
Yeah.
Like, for people to, anyway, just it just seems funny. The narrative is like, oh, all they're going to do is clear their debt. Well, that's just going to extend their balance sheet, which they'll then borrow again in the future. If they're smart, they'll probably clear personal debt with it and then debt recycle through the business.
The dude had some really sound, well-researched, educated analysis as to some insight as to why the sale was good for Fonterra, good for farmers, and good for New Zealand overall. And I thought, man, that's actually really well articulated, really well said. But to those farmers that may or may not be listening to those, all the shareholders that get the benefit of the tax-free, potentially, capital gain, they won't need to worry about ACC levies on it because it's not income. So
what is ACC? Well, another form of insurance? Is that the simplest way to explain?
Like it's... we pay ACC indirectly as an employee. So I suppose there's two sides to the equation, right? There's the employee hat and the employer hat. As an employee, ACC levies are baked into the PAYE calculation. So as you get paid your $180,000 salary and you're taxed at your marginal rates, baked into that is an ACC component, so that if you get injured or sick or whatever it is through work or playing sport or whatever it is that you do, you're going to get covered. So that's the great thing, I suppose, that as much as New Zealanders, people bag off our health system, I actually don't have any problem with it. That if you turn up to a hospital, and the one time that I have, and that was the Segway incident, we won't go into too much detail on this podcast, but I remember going in there high as a kite after cleaning them out on the gas and was in and out quick as. And got my drugs, and away I went and back down to the bar, I do believe, on that Christmas party evening. And any other times that I've been through the health system, it's not a problem. So you don't have to pay because ACC covers it to a point. And that's the beauty of it. Then on the employer side, and I guess this is what employees don't have visibility of because they don't get to see the P&L or the profit and loss report, is ACC send a bill to your boss or the owner of your company that you're working for, and that's going to be your ACC levies, which for that company, and I guess this is the purpose of the podcast for business owners, is you're going to be charged an ACC levy based on your size of your payroll in dollar terms. And I liken it to the provisional tax system to a degree, in that you're paying levies for your current year payroll, and then you're paying a portion in advance, like the provisional tax, based on what your estimated earnings could be into the future. And I think the key thing about this podcast that we were talking about in the office before coming down was how the levies are calculated and how business owners can potentially make a few savings.
Yeah, because I think when you get over about 155 grand of income, it sort of caps out your ACC. I think, is that right?
For the
around that?
employee, yeah.
Because if we take Miles Hurrell, for instance, CEO of Fonterra, might go down as Sir Miles Hurrell with the deal that he's just pulled off. $6 million salary, maybe. Just guesstimating. About 2.4 million, or 2.3 million bucks worth of tax, but $2,500 worth of ACC, 2,551.59. If you're on $160,000 in New Zealand, you'd pay the same amount of PAYE. Of ACC. Shit, not a PAYE. If you're on 100 grand, your ACC 1670 is what this calculator is telling me. But more specifically for those business owners, I think they get frustrated because they get this catch-up bill of ACC.
Yes.
And they kind of go, well, what is this? And I don't seem to, like, very few clients that I've worked with over the years have ended up using ACC for the income side of it where they are unable to work. And I think small business owners feel a bit shafted by it.
Yeah, I think the two parts there, the surprise piece, and I think that's probably one thing where, and look, I'll put my hand up here, where it's poorly communicated by accountants that particularly for new business owners where you're being allocated a shareholder salary to clear out the profit in the first year, and you're saying, hey, here's your accounts, here's your tax return, we've done all this cool stuff to save you tax, we've made sure you've paid enough provisional tax throughout the year, but by the way, because this is your first year in business, you're now going to get a bill for ACC, not only for the earnings that you've just been allocated to you, but for your estimated earnings into the future year.
Yes.
When you get that bill, you now need to check to make sure that you are in the right bucket and paying the right levy amount.
Yeah. And that's what I think is the danger of ACC now in terms of people getting it wrong, is it's so easy to set up a company in New Zealand and then it says, oh, what's the business unit classification or whatever the terminology is?
Business industry classification code.
Yes. And you go, I don't know, like this, and you've got no idea if that's accurate or not.
And I think people just look at it and just go, that'll do, or plumbing, you know, and you don't realise that plumbing is the heading category and you can have marine plumbing, aircraft plumbing, corporate plumbing, warehousing plumbing, and it's just all broken down. I mean, I don't know whether this is accurate or not, but if you jump on Google and you type in business industry, Google will come up with the rest classification code. And the first thing that pops up is the business industry classification code website. And you click on that. This is an absolute bloody mouthful. And you can actually start and search your industry, your sector, or your category, or by keyword, and you can then refine it. And I think, I haven't done a search as yet, but you can then search what the levy rate is per dollar of earnings. So it might do it in cents. So admin might be 12 cents per dollar, whereas construction could be 80-something cents. And that is a reflection of the degree of risk that's involved in your industry.
And so many of these classification codes are very similar. And this is the key point that we want to get across, is that it might be worth taking 30 minutes out of your business life to ring the ACC and say to them, hey, I've got this bill and I want to check with you whether I have the right classification code. Because this is exactly what a client has done after being frustrated at the level of invoice that they were asked to pay. And what, to give you like some good context of it, they are in, let's say, content creation and more sort of production and editing of that, right? And so the code that they were using was motion picture and video production and other motion picture and video activities, not elsewhere classified. Well, actually, they're supposed to be on post-production and digital visual effects services. So the difference is 38 cents per $100 of earnings to 11 cents per $100 of earnings.
Wow.
So they've been paying nearly 4 times as much for the last 15 years, just about. So the ACC, lovely person there at ACC was helpful enough for them to go through and basically correct all of their prior fees, and they've got a net return of somewhere in the vicinity of $3,500 that they've overpaid over that time. So how the hell are they supposed to know what the exact code is that they need to be on? And I think it's just a good reminder for us to perhaps look at what is that industry classification code that we chose and seek some advice from the likes of ACC as to how accurate it actually is.
Are you tired of tax surprises? Need a better handle on your business performance? At Next Advisory, we make accounting simple. From tax returns to everyday advice, we help you understand the numbers so you can make better business decisions. Visit nextadvisory.nz and book a time to have a chat with me. Let's get your business humming. Well, just while you've been sharing that example, I thought, well, I'll punch in one here and see what happens. And the first one that came up was manufacturing. Well, it had a big list of industries. And I thought, oh, manufacturing, that's pretty wide. Then it goes to a sub-classification of manufacturing. There's all of these different ones. And I was like, bakery sticks out, so let's stick bakery manufacturing. And then it goes further refined. Are you doing bread manufacturing, biscuits, cakes, da-da-da-da? And I was like, man, this is getting complicated. So I thought, well, let's do a keyword search and just type in bakery. 20 results were found.
Wow.
It has included, and I don't know why, baked beans manufacturing at the top. Don't know how that gets confusing with a bakery, but bakery for bread manufacturing, bread bakery operation except selling direct to the public. There's unleavened bread manufacturing, cake and pastry manufacturing. So the crumpet manufacturing, pies, pastry, sausage roll manufacturing, all of this just from, so when you look at it, you go, oh, I run a bakery. It's just like, well, hang on a minute. What kind of bakery are you actually running?
Yeah.
The thing that I was wanting to actually look at was going, well, what is the rate based on each of these different types? And is there much of a variance? I can't easily find that while we're doing this, but if you're listening to this and you're checking it, have your invoice at hand, do some digging as to the correct industry classification codes, and make sure that you've got the right one and you're not overpaying as the example that you shared.
Well, we are by no means experts in ACC, nor will we even say we're probably amateurs. But this is their wording. ACC levy classification units describe the activity a business is engaged in and are used to calculate ACC levies. In most cases, the classification relates to the services provided or goods produced. For employers, the levy classification must be based on the business's activity and not the tasks of individual shareholders, directors, or employees within the company. For self-employed people, the classification refers to the nature of the work done rather than the setting in which the work takes place. For example, an abseiling window cleaner would be classified under cleaning. So if I'm an abseiler, I'm probably just going to go, abseiling?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, but that one, that'll do. Now, how many of these in New Zealand are wrong?
Oh, I'd imagine heaps, eh?
Hundreds of thousands, I'd say. Yeah,
and that might explain some of the losses that ACC are racking up.
For information on levies and business descriptions, please go to, and they've got a specific page around it. But they say many issues can be solved quickly and efficiently by speaking to us. So please get in touch if you have any questions about our decision. If we're unable to resolve things, you can have our decision independently reviewed. So it sounds like they're very open to discussing it.
Yeah, and I would say that they'd probably help you, but without like proper commercial context, they could lead you down the garden path and potentially overpaying. And I think that's where going to somebody independent who's going to be looking after your best interests, in other words, your accountant, should be able to help you and go, hey, look, here's my invoice. Can you just help me understand it? Am I using the right code? Is it the appropriate thing? And is it the lowest one that we should be? Because accountants try to manage and minimize tax. Let's try and manage and minimize ACC within the rules that we're allowed to.
Yeah, I also saw a client recently send me their ACC bill, and it was for some names we'd never even heard of. And I said, look, I can't help you with that. You're going to need to speak to ACC and find out why you even have that, who those people are, and what the hell that's about. That's not one for me.
Yeah, she's an ugly old beast, but I guess it's a little bit of a tidbit from the lads.
Yeah.
Just out here trying to help business owners.
So nice and simple. If you haven't put much time into thinking about this, it might be worth a 30-minute conversation with ACC, just discussing, hey, what is the correct code for someone like myself, and get some advice around that situation rather than just picking the random classification code via the company's office.
Yeah, and if you've listened to this and actioned it, if your call has been under 30 minutes, can you email lnp@nextadvisory.nz, because I'm going to call bullshit on that.
Let us know how you get on too. Love to know if you action this. I guess there's a risk that you are on an under category,
Yes.
and then you're going to end up with a bit of a bill.
Yeah, you might want to manage that a little bit. This is not advice.
Interestingly, I'm going to say off the record that I saw another instance where they reviewed it and they were owed refunds in most of the years, but the years where there was something owing, they said, oh, we're not going to reassess those because it'd lead to something you're going to have to pay.
Mm,
Very nice of them, isn't it?
very nice.
Maybe like
Pragmatic.
You say, yeah, it goes back to all those losses. But anyway, that's ACC, nice and simple. A reminder, go and check it out. Maybe you're overpaying.